I wanted to discuss the importance of being comfortable with yourself, like being confident in yourself more so, because um, it's something that sounds like, basic, something that most people are, we would hope, we would assume. But a lot of people are not confident. A lot of people have issues with, traits or aspects of them or behaviors that they have and ways that they, function in, and they don't like it. And so, therefore, internally, they're not liking themselves in some manners. So we all have things that we perceive as flaws in ourselves and other people, and a lot of things that we see as flaws are truly things that probably make us who we are, and it makes us unique, and it makes us a beautiful person. Unless you're out here doing, things like murdering people or something like that. But if you are just, an everyday average person, we all have things that we don't care for. Some of those things, like I said in one of my last videos, is something that we can change. You don't like this, work on it. You want to start trying to do this, work on it. But then there are things that we can't really do anything about. So, or things that you don't really need to do anything about. Some things are, sometimes our minds just take a hold and just go make us go places that we don't really need to go. So um, the main thing that I think helps out, because I really had issues with myself years back, and it went on for like the majority of my life. I had issues with who I was, and I didn't own it, and so therefore, it was visually apparent. It was apparent to people no matter what words came out of my mouth. If I said I was fine, it was very clear that I was not. It was very clear I wasn't confident in myself. And when people look at you, it's how you carry yourself, it's how you sit, it's how you walk. Are you slumped? Do you look people directly in the eyes, or do you look at the ground? Little things like that. Um, when you walk into the room, are you saying something without saying something, or are you someone that people can overlook? And you don't have to be, I'm not an outgoing person at all, as you can probably tell from my videos, because I'm barely, um, lively. That's not my personality. I'm introverted, and I'm always at home. But there are still, these little cues that tell you, that people can tell whether or not you are confident in who you are and what you're doing. And it's not so much about caring what people think. It's more so about caring about it for you. Because if you're not okay with you, you know, how far can you go? You can't get much accomplished because you don't believe in yourself. And even if you don't think outright, I don't believe in myself, all those other little issues that you have with yourself, that comes out in the work that you do, that comes out in the moves that you make. Furthermore, when you carry yourself in a way that people can tell that, you aren't really feeling yourself, you are now then opening yourself up to a world of people and attracting people who probably are out to get you. And it's not that, someone, it's like people just waiting in the bushes trying to get us, but there are people, narcissists for one example. I've been through a lot with them in previous years. They can pick up on the cues, your body language and the signals that you send out without even knowing that you're doing it. And then they come into your life, and then they, further it can become a really bad thing, which is a whole nother subject, narcissist. So I'm not even going to start there. But what I'm saying is, you have to be confident in who you are. You have to be comfortable with who you are. And if you are not, if it's something that you can actually change, change it. But even like when I was bigger, before I lost weight, my confidence was really extremely low. And I thought it was because of my weight, and I thought that when I lost weight that I would become, more confident. And it didn't happen like that. It was not linear. I had to work on myself separately. My mental had to be worked on just as much as my body did. I lost weight and I was still unhappy with myself. So I'm saying all this to say, like, working on who you are mentally is very important. It's very important. So I have some tips I'm going to share about how you can do that. So self affirmations are like the top thing that I think assists you no matter what you're trying to work on. Like, you have to affirm to yourself all the time. You know, this is everything that we say, everything that we think, everything that we believe comes out in the things that we do and the way that we function in the world. And so, if you're in a negative state of mind and you think, I don't like this, or I don't like how I look, or I hate my face, or I wish this would be different, or I wish I could be different, or I wish my eyes weren't so big, or I wish like, anything like that, you have to, every time you think of that thought, you're about to think, because it's a natural thing that you've been doing. You have to take that thought and reword it, rephrase it, because that thought is holding you back and you don't even realize it, I'm sure, or you do realize it, but you have to actively work at fixing the thought process. If you think negatively, like, you want to work on it every single time you have a thought like that. Like I said, reword it. Nope, I love my eyes, they're huge, and that's something that's captivating on my face, and I just love how eye-popping they are. Or, I love my lips and the plumpness in them. It's nothing wrong with that. They look great, especially when I put on liner. Stuff like that. Reword it. If it's something like, I hate my job, I hate my job. Stop saying I hate my job. Say, you know what? I can do better than the current job I'm in. So I am going to get another job. I know it because I'm working on it. And write that down as a goal, and then start fixing up your resume, and then start applying for jobs. Instead of rolling around in despair and negativity, you can take actions to work on the things that you don't care for, But if it's something that you can't prevent, embrace it. If it's something that you don't like about yourself, like you don't like your voice or something like that, embrace it. Like, learn to like it. Learn to like it and tell yourself that you do like it, because eventually, and that sounds very simple, some people already do self-affirmations, some people have already seen the results of self-affirmations, and some people are like, yeah, that sounds like bullshit. But it's not. Like, literally, that's the majority of what I did to go from I hate the way I look, like I hate you in the mirror, to go from I love you. I had to constantly, every single day, and I still do. It's an act that, when I say it's a real job, it's definitely a job, because those thoughts can creep into your brain at any given time, unwelcomed. And if you let them sit there and you fester, and it just turns into some ugliness. And that's not how I want my life. I don't want to go back to that type of life. And that's why I'm making this video, for people who are in a similar spot and may need to, work on that. Like, definitely tell yourself, like, no, I love my life. I'm glad I'm here. The world is huge, and there's so many things that we can see and so many things that we can do. And so while we're here, I don't know about anybody else, but I would like to live it. I would like to live my life. I don't want to carry my life out feeling like I wish, things were like this, and I wish things were like that. We have to learn to live in the moment and accept everything that we see and everything that we do, and feel what we're supposed to feel. Feel your emotions, but don't sit in negativity. So self-affirmations, say them to yourself in the mirror. Spend some time with yourself. Talk to yourself. Look in the mirror and tell yourself whatever it is that you need to tell yourself. Write it down. And even in shows like Mary Jane, she had post-it notes, and she wrote down self-affirmations, positive affirmations, and put them up around her house where you can see them. Also write them down. Try every single method to remind yourself. There's even apps now, free apps, that you can get self-affirmations or enter them yourself. All of that is very helpful if you actually apply it. Don't do it for one day and walk away. You have to do it every single day. Even when you feel better, you still have to do it. So that's one of my first major tips as far as working on yourself. Also, I would say, Learn to be your biggest cheerleader, because so often I feel like we rely on, especially in today's age, we rely on external validation. And really, you're looking for, we do things and we're looking for someone else to say, good job, or you look cute today, or nice outfit. You have to tell yourself, because there may be days you won't hear it. And it may be because it's not, if you go out and you think, I look cute today, I look cute, and no one tells you look cute, and then you go home and you might feel like, oh, well, maybe I didn't look as cute as I thought because no one told you that you did. You have to tell yourself. You have to tell yourself, because just because someone didn't mention something that's very clear to you doesn't mean that it's not true. Just as true as just because someone doesn't value you doesn't mean that you're not valuable. But you have to be the person to tell yourself that you look cute. Tell yourself you look cute when you go out. And if you get a compliment, say thank you. And if you don't, go home and look back in the mirror again and say, yeah, I look cute today. That's what you have to do. Because if you're relying on other people, you might be waiting forever. There may be several reasons where someone doesn't compliment you. It might be because of jealousy, or it might be because, maybe you're not approachable, or maybe you don't appear to be approachable. I know I get that all the time. Or, it could be a number of reasons, but none of them matters, because the only opinion that counts is yours. It's yours. It's yours. So I would definitely say be your biggest cheerleader, every single day. Be your biggest cheerleader. Hype yourself up in your head, out loud. Talk to yourself. I talk to myself all the time. And I know my son thinks I'm a little bit nuts, but it's how I function. You don't have to talk to yourself if you don't want to, but I'm just saying, tell yourself all those things that you feel like you need to hear. People go on social media and post pictures, and they do you got to pose like this, you got to do 50 pictures before you get it right. You don't have to do none of that. Social media for what? Because everything we see on social media, a lot of people end up feeling like they have to compete with, or they have to keep up with, and I would say do it without social media if you can, especially if you're in the middle of working on yourself. I get on social media here and there, and I barely have any social media. I have an Instagram, and it's, it's not popping, but am I dying? No. I could care less, because I'm living my life. So if I choose to share a photo when I decide to, that's nice, but it's not the base of my existence at all. So I would just say, steer clear of social media if you're about to begin a self-worth, self-work process. Focus on you and give yourself all the attention that you need. Be your biggest cheerleader. Another tip that I would say is to, treat yourself. Self-care is important. Make yourself feel good. Pamper yourself. A lot of us, including me, cannot afford to go to the spa. And, you might not be able to afford to do things that you want to do if you're a female or male. You might want to go get a beard treatment. You might want to go get your nails and feet done. You might want to go get a wax. But maybe you can't do it. Maybe you can. Try to do things yourself, or try to do things that make you feel good. And it can be something as simple as, getting some special type of oil and massaging into your body and taking your time, taking 25 minutes when you get out the shower to do that. It could be taking a shower with 3 different soaps. And, it doesn't have to be shower, but I'm just saying, whatever it is that makes you feel special, do that for yourself. Do that for yourself. Invest what you can into it. And it doesn't have to be money. It's really simply a matter of time. Once you start doing stuff like that for yourself, you start to feel special. And there can be times where you feel like, well, what am I doing all this for? It's not like I have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or it's not like, I have somewhere to be or somewhere to go, or I'm not going anywhere today, so why should I do this? Do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. Sometimes I get dressed up just to go to the grocery store. It depends on my mood. It's a mood. Because I'm telling myself, you know what, you're beautiful. You got all these beautiful clothes. Put them on. Do stuff like that for yourself. It makes you feel better overall. You're innerly uplifted. And that also leads to things like, working out, eating right. All of that is a major move to make in general For some people who, if you're not doing it already, it's like, oh, you might not even want to do that. I get that. I definitely get that. But when you do stuff like that and you really start doing it and you start seeing results, it might not even be, the biggest benefit might not come from a weight loss or weight maintenance. At this point, it comes from the feeling of accomplishing something, the feeling of sticking to something. That gives you an internal feeling of power, and that's something I also discussed in one of my previous videos. But that feeling of power, like, it really feels good. Like, oh my gosh, I can do this. I can do anything. And it's really true. We can do so much if we really apply ourselves. Applying yourself to things that you want to accomplish gives you that feeling of, like I said, I don't know any other word to use for it right now, but power. It gives you a feeling of power. It gives you a feeling of having a purpose and having meaning. And so when you get to that point, where you're doing stuff like that, your confidence soars automatically. I did this, so you know what? I feel really good about myself. Like, you're gonna feel good about yourself just doing that. Working on yourself overall feels good. Also, stay away from people who don't mean you well. And sometimes we can't see them. They look like friends, to us. They look like your favorite cozy, comfy pillow that you like to snuggle up with. You don't know, but you do know. We all have little signs that we can pick up on, those little red flags that pop up in your head and fireworks that go off when somebody's not really for you, or somebody's not really, they're not with you. They're not on your team. You can tell because maybe they don't compliment you, or they don't congratulate you when something good is going on in your life, or maybe they make little snide comments about, oh, your hair, when are you getting it done? Little things like that. People who really want to deal with you are not going to treat you or say little snippy comments. There's a way to let your friend know they need their hair done without coming off as a bitch, So you have to watch out for the company that you keep. The company that you keep directly affects you and impacts you mentally, and it drains you. So, keep an eye out. Deal less with people that need to be, you need to move away from. I'm sure that if you really think about it, we can think of people that we know that we probably shouldn't be friends with anymore. So I think that's really important. And so basically, give yourself grace as well. Like, if you do something that you're not really proud of, or you are like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that, don't beat yourself up about it. Don't sit there and, swim in that. Like, definitely acknowledge these thoughts, but don't let it turn into something where you're beating yourself up, because I feel like we often do that too as humans. We just, we can discuss it with ourselves sometimes. It's natural. But just try to keep it to a minimum. Don't sit there forever holding on to something that you did years ago or months ago, depending on what it is. Tell yourself, you know what, I didn't like when I did that, and that's okay. I'm not gonna do that again. That's it. And then don't do it again. But I'm just saying, like, you have to give yourself a little room, a little grace, because we are human. So we will make errors, and we will do things that maybe we shouldn't have, and maybe you knew you shouldn't have done it when you did it. But that's okay, because life goes on, and every day that you wake is a new day for you to do something different. So don't beat yourself up, is basically what I'm saying. So overall, the main points that I was trying to make: self-affirmations. There's power in words. There's so much power in words. Like, words are so powerful. Everything that we say and think, like I said, will really affect you, and it sits in your brain, and that's how you move based off that. So you wake up late, you go into work, oh my gosh, it's gonna be such a bad day. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. The rest of your day probably will be shitty, because that's what you thought when that happened, right? But instead of doing stuff like that, it's a great day. It's a beautiful day. I'm late, but guess what? I'm glad I got a car to get me where I'm going. I got gas to get me where I'm going. If you on the bus, then I'm glad I have money for the bus. Like, whatever it is, everything that you look at can be looked at from an aspect that is more positive than negative, if that makes sense. Um, be your biggest cheerleader. Tell yourself all the things that you want to hear, because that'll take you there. That's all you need. Your opinion is the only one that matters in your life. Trying to keep up with the Joneses, and I'm a Jones, but trying to keep up with the Joneses and trying to worry about what they doing over there and what she's wearing over here. No, worry about you and worry about your life and worry about what do you want your life to look at. You know, these are all things that you can really sit down and go over. And I also suggest, you know, I challenge anybody who is on the same type of path to write a list of things out that you like about yourself. Like I've done that, and I have an ongoing list. I have one in my phone because that's the easiest thing for me to access, you know, in my notes app, and I list things as I think of them. You know, even things that you perceive as negative things about yourself, you can reframe that into something that is positive. And I like to write poems, so I do really good at play on words, I would say. But you know, there's things you can say, like if you think that you are a procrastinator, you could say, you know, I'm a procrastinating achiever. Because if you look at the things that you have achieved and they outweigh, you know, it's more than a few, then you're not really a procrastinator, are you? You know, it all depends on how you look at shit. So I would definitely suggest, you know, writing a list out about things that are great about yourself. And if there's things that you want to change that you can change, write a list out of what those things are. And then at another point, maybe or the same night, come back to that list and say, okay, well, what can I do to start working on these things? Write down your self affirmations and also say them to yourself. And if you're going to write them down, don't write them down in a notebook that you're going to put away and never see again. Write them down in a visible place or a place that you frequent so that you can actually see the things that you need to. All of these things, including the self-care part of it, will help you. But you can't just do it for 1 week. You can't do it for 2 weeks. You have to do it every single day. So that's all that I wanted to share. Thank you for watching if you did, or if you have anything to add to what I said that I didn't think of, please put it in the comments. Thank you. It doesn't matter what you wear, how you do your hair, what you paint your face with, how much money you make. If you're not confident in who you are internally, like if you were stripped of all that excess stuff that some people actually believe defines them, who are you then? Like, what are your skills? What are you capable of? Think about things like that when you write a list about your qualities, who you actually are, not, you know, material stuff, not stuff that doesn't matter. Because you could be, then at that point, it doesn't matter what your size is, what your age is, you know, what your status in life is. The only thing that matters is who you are really in the dark.